The end of the day with Ray. Hello, my friends, ladies and gentlemen. Performance ratings are coming soon. How does your CEO rate? Folks, I found this performance rating out there, and they all look alike, right? I came across this one, and I'm thinking to myself, what if the employees that work for these organizations rated their CEO? I mean, those friends of mine that sell supply and service print equipment, that industry's going through some massive transitions, disruptions, and the CEOs are all going to get together, and they're going to rate their employees over the next couple of months, right? Year end. But shouldn't the CEO have to abide by the same things that they're rating the employees on? I mean, think about it. Doesn't the CEO have to meet or exceed expectations? You would hope the CEO's exceeding expectations. You know? Doesn't the CEO have to perform with the core values of the company in mind? Sure they do. Doesn't that CEO have to participate and support teamwork? I mean, my gosh, if the CEO doesn't support teamwork, isn't part of the team, that would be terrible. And the CEO sure as hell has to be agile. They got to be able to make decisions quickly. You know, they got to be able to move the company through the massive transition it's going through, right? So, ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to help all those employees out that work in the print industry rate their CEO. So what I've done is I've taken this and I broke it apart in categories. And the first thing we want to talk about is the expectations. Does the CEO or leader meet the expectations? And I have two categories for this one. I have an OEM leader and I have a major mega dealer, put it that way. And if the leaders of the OEM or the leader of this mega dealer is doing these things, this would be like the worst possible thing they could be doing. And they would not meet any reasonable expectations. So they would get an F in this category. And basically what I want to do is I want to tell you what the leaders would get an F on. And that way you know what the worst thing your leaders can be doing. And then you all can take it from there. So let's talk about this expectation category. If you're a mega dealer and you've allowed the loans to go in non-accrual, causing a BD lender to book a massive loss on a senior subordinate loan and take majority equity in financially failing company, this action does not meet the lowest of expectations. So if you're a mega dealer out there, or you're working for a mega dealer out there, the leader had a loan in non-accrual and the BD lender had to take a bunch of their equity and do a write-off a massive loss. I mean, that particular leader in that category of expectations would definitely get an F because that doesn't meet any of the lowest of possible expectations. OEM leader spends billions on stock buybacks, doubles the company debt, and finishes last FY with massive revenue declines. This is a huge problem, sometimes called HP for short. Again, does not meet the lowest of expectations. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, if you got an OEM leader out there and the declines in revenue are being amplified by poor decision making, that particular OEM leader would definitely have to get an F in that category. Let's talk about the core values. The core values. So let me just pop that up here on the screen. Distracting the company's employees with gaslighting to avoid addressing company's realities would be dismissive to any core values. I mean, if the leader, whether they're a big giant mega dealer leader or whether they're an OEM leader and they go on the talk show circuit, they do interviews, they completely gaslight around their realities, they talk about everything but their real problems, they don't address any of this stuff, that would not really be participating in core values because, distractions, gaslighting, deceitful things, that's pretty much, that could be considered lies, and that's not any core value that anybody would recognize. So if the leaders are doing those things, obviously they would get an F in that category. Let's look at teamwork. Boy, teamwork. If leaders pay themselves and their top management team bonuses, while loans are a non-accrual or revenues are declining massively, that would be a huge slap in the face to all the hardworking team, wouldn't it? I mean, think about it. You got a company that's financially stressed. The lender has to go in there and take away a big chunk of equity, write off a massive amount of debt and a loss, and then leaders are out there getting bonuses. I mean, if that was happening, that would just be outrageous, wouldn't it? If there was an OEM out there, leader out there, and their revenues were declining just terribly, and they were making poor decisions and poor acquisitions, I mean, they couldn't be out there giving themselves bonuses and stock bonuses and all that stuff, could they? Well, if they are, I gotta tell you, those leaders definitely deserve to get a big old F. Agility. These leaders, they gotta have agility. Well, let's see what I say here, because if they're falling into this category, they definitely would get another F. Leaders who can't face reality lack the agility to address reality. I mean, it kind of goes back to the core value section. I mean, if the leaders out there that can't even face reality, or they distract from reality, or they gaslight from reality, how in the world are they ever going to, be agile enough to move through their reality, to change the reality, to make the reality better for the employees that work at the company? Well, ladies and gentlemen, I got to tell you, if your leader's doing these things, they're getting an F. And I guess it would be really easy to wrap up these couple of CEOs this way. They failed. I mean, they would have failed if they hit all these categories, right? And I guess then that leader would have to decide, should I just go ahead and quit? Because it looks like my team just fired me. Just something to think about, my friends, because everybody watching me knows this. Status quo is the killer of all that'll be invented. Don't get stuck in status quo, and I'll see you all tomorrow.